So idea validation. This guide should be completely comprehensive. If you have an idea already, you can kind of follow along, use some of the prompts that I have in this guide as we go. Some of them require deep research, which takes a little bit of time. So I'm not going to do the exact like deep research live because that typically takes like 5 to 10 minutes, but we'll do some example prompts. If you don't have a idea yet, we can go to that guide that I showed you guys last time. Let me just pull that up one more time. That's the boostercartel.com/idea generation guide. This will give you 5 different frameworks to come up with endless ideas. And you'd be hard pressed to be able to go through this whole guide and not come up with a bunch of good SaaS ideas. So once we have a bunch of ideas that we want to do, or maybe 1 or 2 good ones, then we need to validate those ideas. And this is kind of where this is the step that I see most people skip over. I run Booster Cartel, obviously, and we do Figma design and bubble development here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And one of the biggest things I see people skip is they skip validating the idea. They'll come up with the idea, they'll come up with a lot of good ideas, and then they'll go right into development without getting some real feedback from real users. And so this is the guide that will show you how important that step is and make sure you don't skip that step. So you can get all the validation without building the full app. So why does this matter right now is because we need to have validation to know real people actually want this app that we're creating. At the end of this, when you follow along and you actually go through this guide, you'll have a landing page, you'll have real feedback from your target audience, you'll have validated pain points and the must-have features. You'll have metrics to show if this idea actually has traction. And it's a simple framework to decide if you want to launch, pivot, or repurpose the funnel that you've built. So whether your idea gets validated or not, it's completely fine because you're building the funnel and the resources to be able to test any idea that you have, whether it's SaaS or not. It could be an app idea. It could be pretty much any idea. This is going to allow you to validate that. And a sales training app, we'll get into that one as well. We'll use that as an example as well. Yeah. So that's me. So what is idea validation? So what it is not is thinking that you have a good idea and getting deep into imagining what it's going to be like and thinking about the features. All those things are important. Those things we have to do, but it's not validating the idea. You could talk to friends, family, colleagues, and they could also say it's a good idea, but that's not real validation. Could be building mock-ups. All of those things are important. All of those things you should do, but it's not validation. Real validation is when somebody actually signs up for your product. So they saw your landing page, they understood the problem you solved, and they care enough to put in their email. If you cannot get that, you're not able to validate the idea. As good of an idea as you may think it is, if you cannot get somebody to sign up, it's better to learn that early rather than spending months on an idea, thousands of dollars on development, and then running into that problem. So that's what we want to avoid, is wasting weeks, months, years on an idea. and we want to get in and get to that decision point, whether this is a valid idea or not, as soon as possible. So that's what this does. So the validation steps are market research, defining the core problem, build a landing page, drive traffic, collect feedback, measure interest, and decide. So we'll get into all of those things. So each of these sections has the details about the section. There's a lot of stuff in here for sure, and I'll have to go fast just to get through a lot of it. But each section, each action has a prompt, a ChatGPT prompt that you can copy and paste. So ChatGPT can do a lot of the hard work for you. There's still some things that you have to do manually, but at the end of each section, usually there's a ChatGPT prompt that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So step one is market research. And so in this section, we are just doing some digging. We're looking to find our target audience and segmentation. We're looking at things like their industry, job role, role and job title, company size, behaviors, common pain points, community hotspots. So some of the tools we can use are Reddit, Facebook groups, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google. An example would be you're targeting gym owners, your ICP might look like your industry is health and fitness, role is gym owner or manager, company size is 1 to 3 physical locations, pain points, scheduling, lead follow-up, membership churn, and communities are going to be Reddit, gym owners, Facebook groups for fitness entrepreneurs, YouTube channels on gym marketing. So we'll go through this part quickly and we'll get to the Chat GPT so we can kind of see it in action. Market size and growth. We want to look at these key metrics. And in the prompt I show you guys in a little bit, we're going to get all this information. We want to look at total addressable market, serviceable available market, serviceable obtainable market, and growth trends, and SaaS and tech adaptation. So some of the tools we can use are Google Trends, Google Keyword Planner, App Marketplace. And here's an example. The next part of market research is finding what the customer pain points are. Some of the best ways to do that is to go through each of these tools, look at some of the 3 and 4-star reviews on G2, for example, and see where people like this product. They like the app or the SaaS, whatever they're using, but there's probably some core features or some little things that aren't quite right. And so those are some of the pain points that we are identifying through this market research. Competitive landscape. This is where we're going to look at our direct competitors, indirect competitors, seeing what features they offer, what their pricing is, how do they message, what is their messaging, what do their landing pages even look like, what kind of design language do they have. And some of this is a tool that I use all the time. When a client sends a example website to me, I always look to see what tools they used to build that app or that website. So built with .com, and they have a Chrome extension as well. Pricing and willingness to pay, current spend, what are people paying for these apps? What are the pain points? What are the value drivers? Market gaps. And the last, no, there's two more. Customer behavior and discovery channels. Where are they finding, where are they currently finding these solutions? But what's their buying process? Different influencers, especially, is something to identify early on. And here's some tools to use. And let's look at churn and retention signals. Where are the onboarding gaps? If the onboarding process is difficult or annoying, or you notice there's just too much information that they're asking for up front, this is where the competitors could be losing some of their users that would be interested in that product. All right, so now we got to the meaty stuff, which is the ChatGPT prompt. So if you guys are familiar with ChatGPT, one of the tools that we're going to use, or that you would want to use if you were running through this on a real idea that you were going for, we would run deep research, and that would do extensive research for us in whatever market we're looking to do. So we can copy this exact prompt. Generally speaking, we're going to be using like advanced reasoning, the O3, or whatever model you have access to, whatever model is going to work for you. Because this typically takes several minutes, I'm not going to do this live on the call, but I'll do an example with just a fastest advanced reasoning. We'll do this. We'll do the sales training app example now, and we'll do the journaling app in just a second for a mock-up. But so we put in our app idea, 1 to 2 sentences, sales training app. Let's see what would be on a sales training app. Let's say, I'm not sure exactly what you would want, what type of features you'd want in here, but let's say AI guided objection training. I've had a few people reach out about similar apps to this, so I've looked into some of these before. So AI guided objection training. What else would be good? Customer profile or customer persona. Yeah, training as well. And let's say we wanted to do in the United States. Target demographic. We'll just say unknown for now. So we'll run that. Like I said, when we're doing this for real, we want to use that deep research tool that we talked about. That's going to give us a lot more research. It's going to take a lot more time, but that is fine. So one of the things I do on these prompts is I say, before you start, if anything is unclear, ask up to 3 clarification questions before. So if it needs more information before it does the research, it's going to ask us some questions. What's the primary buyer persona? Let's just assume, we'll make some assumptions here. Let's say it's the small, medium business reps. So I can tailor it. Boom, there we go. And let's see if it asks us another question. You guys can follow along as well in ChatGPT. You guys can just paste this and put your own ideas in there. Cool. So what it gives us in response is going to be executive insights, which is going to be a few bullet points on a high-level overview of the market research. It's going to give us all the sections we just went over: the target audience and segmentation, market size and growth, pain points, competitive landscape, pricing, discovery, and then churn and retention. So the big thing to note with when you're using AI to do market research or to do anything, to get the highest value from any AI interaction that you do, it's important to give full context and to iterate. Full context just means providing it as much context as is practical for the exact situation that you're working with. So providing full context, and then iteration, which means giving feedback. So once we have the research done, we can dig deeper on any point. So let's say we wanted to identify more niche communities that would be useful for us. Let's say when we're thinking about coming up with a marketing plan, we want to identify more. That's where we iterate, meaning we go back and forth with the AI and refine the responses and do more research that way. So this gives us a high level overview of everything that we had just talked about. All the competitive landscapes. Here are the different competition that you'll have, Eddie, for something like that. And you can look at how they're positioning their messaging, what their pricing is, what mock-ups are they using, and we'll get into mock-ups in a little bit, but what mock-ups are they using to show value to people who just visit their landing page? We can use those exact same type of mock-ups when we're doing our landing page. So that's one important thing right there, is to check out what their landing page is. How do they take somebody that's just a visitor to their website and explain their whole app, their whole idea very succinctly, especially in that hero. Let's actually look at one of these. I don't know what these are, but let's see. AI revenue. So yeah, we can see here's a mock-up. So we can start thinking, what type of mock-ups do we need to do? AI role plays, like I was saying. This is how they do it, and we could kind of take this and I'll show you how to make mock-ups in just a second. So that is the deep market research that we can do. So I knew I was gonna go slow on this, but let me go faster again. Okay, so let's define the core problem. That's the next step. And so as we are doing our market research, either manually or with ChatGPT, we're going to start identifying different pain points that we're coming across. What are our competitor reviews that are negative? What are we noticing there? And what are common pain points that keep recurring? We want to track those in Google Sheets, and we want to start evaluating those pain points that we identify and craft a job to be done statement. This is kind of a template where the user wants to achieve goal, but struggles with pain, especially when context. So an example is a small service business owner wants to give prospects an instant, accurate quote and capture the lead, but struggles with manual spreadsheets and follow-ups, especially when on site with limited time. So that is what we're going to use for messaging, shaping the MVP. Then what we need to do is we need to start crafting our MVP feature list. if you were here for the last call, we went all over that. So you could go right here to the idea generation guide, scroll down probably 3/4 of the way down, and that is where we go over the at creating your MVP feature list. Let's see. Create your MVP feature list right there. So if you need a refresher, go back to that section. Important things. We want to avoid rebuilding an entire competitor. Remember, they've probably had years to build out their features. It's going to be impossible to do that in a very short period of time. So we want to have a very focused list. No nice to have extras or solving rare edge cases. Check competitor messaging for gaps. Look on their social media, their landing page. That's where we're going to identify those things. Write a clarity statement, who it is for, what it does, and why it matters. So this is where we get to the ChatGPT prompt again. Again, I wanted to make this as actionable as possible. So not only can you learn why we're doing all these things, but you can copy and paste these ChatGPT prompts to kind of do a lot of the hard work for you. So we're going to take this and we're going to continue with our example that we were working with. So you're a senior SaaS product strategist. Your goal is to transform raw pain point data into the focused product direction. So this is where we were doing our pain point, everything we had discovered above. So if we were doing a brand new chat, then we'd paste those in, but I'll just do based on the research above. We'll copy that. We'll do based on the research above. And then we've already built our MVP feature list, but let's say, let me just copy this and then target audience. Let me just copy this stuff that we had identified already. So I'm going through this quickly, obviously, just to give an example. So how do you find common complaints? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but if you go to the market research section, where we're identifying pain points, that will let you know how to do all that stuff. And if you missed the first little section, I'm recording this so you can watch it back again. But this will do all that stuff for you. So problem clusters, it's hard to say. Job to be done, there we go. Clarity statement, lean MVP feature list that we're starting to refine. Competitor gap, no vendor offers fully customizable persona templates linked to real deal data. Most lacks seamless in-tool analytics that stay within the rep's existing CRM or workspace. And then next steps. So we're going to be building clickable prototype. I'll show you how to do that in just 1 second. Draft and A/B test a landing page. Conduct 5 user interviews. So that's good. That's what we're going to do just next. Track search volumes spikes. This is what we can do with Google Trends or Google Keyword Planner. Now we're getting into building the landing page. And I said I was going to do that with the journaling app. So there's 2 tools that we have. We have Bubble, that's what I typically use because we do bubble development. So if you want the bubble join waitlist template, I'm currently building that, but I can send it to you now. You can email me here at alex@boostercartel.com. That's going to be public relatively soon. But card.com, let me go to card.co. And this is a single page, single section, a bunch of templates as well. So if you don't want to use Bubble, this is a good option as well. But we need to have some visuals. So when we're building a landing page for an app, even if we don't have it built yet, we want to make it look like we at least have some progress. It might not be available now, but we want to show kind of how it's going to look. If we just have like some stock images of some person, it's just not going to feel right. It's like it looks like nothing is done. And I'm going to show you kind of how to shortcut that with this prompt. So I want you guys to test this out right now as well. This you'll be really impressed with this. So go to v0.dev. I'll paste that in right there. So follow along with me. Copy this prompt. We'll paste this in, and let's do this for a journaling app. Let's say it's going to be an AI journaling app. With guided meditation. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to take this part out for now, but let's let that run. That takes a couple minutes, so I was going to just let that run. So that's going to take a couple minutes, but that is going to give you a nice little mock-up that we can use for creating visuals on our landing page. So what we're going to want is single section landing page, a mock-up or preview of your app, a waitlist form, and a way to contact interested people. We're going to want to have some button that says join the waitlist, and we're going to want to be able to collect those names and emails and follow up with them. That's the true validation of the idea. If we can get somebody to sign up for that waitlist, we got a golden idea. So must-have elements on your landing page. We can keep it simple. It just has to be one section, but we want the headline and subheadline. We need a mock-up, a visual mock-up. Even a video would be really helpful. We want benefits, 3 benefits, and a waitlist form. So we want for the waitlist collection and email tagging, simple form. We can use Beehive. They have I think their free tier is going to allow us to do everything we need, which is like basic follow-ups to a small number of emails. So that's going to be perfect. And optional, you can test out adding a phone number field for SMS follow-up later. One thing that I like to do is have some type of viral marketing component, like a referrals incentive of some kind. So we want to say something like get 3 months free when you refer 3 friends. And that bubble template that I currently have has this exact feature. How to implement, include a referral code, a shareable link, and we want to make sure that in the database that is marking or that is connecting to that original refer. Adding like social proof can be helpful. To 1 to 2 testimonials, real or just placeholder. Waitlist counter could be helpful, and logos if you've been mentioned anywhere, work with other companies. Thank you page. We want to add some details to the thank you page. We want to start building assets like videos of us going through the different features on our VO dev mockup. And I'll show you that in just a second. Let's see if that is done. Cool. We're done here. So this is what I was talking about. So I don't know if you guys have been following along. You guys should be pretty close to having this done as well. So the pages that were created were the landing page, the dashboard, the journal, meditation page, journal history, and that prompt that you guys copied in is going to tell you what pages are left. So if we had time, we would just say, okay, build the rest of the pages that were defined there. But we don't have quite that time. But this is already giving us some visual, like now all of a sudden we have a visual that we can put on our we can put our landing page. We can start even building a little social media presence if we wanted to, and we can kind of show how this will work. None of this data is live. None of this is, none of the workflows are built. None of the database is built, but it is showing kind of what this will look like. So we'll have the ability to do some AI insight, some complete entry, and I'm assuming we'd have some type of workflow that is built and gives us summaries of what we've put in for our journaling that day, giving us some summaries or linking some behaviors that we've been doing to give us some better insight about our journaling. Or we can do guided meditation, and we could see here there could be several different categories of the meditation that we could do. Got our basic settings page. Let's see what else is created. Let me just copy and paste this in. Sometimes when you build this out, not all the links are going to be working, but you can paste that in. We can see our journaling history here. And we can see, we can have like AI tags or insights and share it, read the full entry, view insights, blah, blah, blah. So if we would build this out a little bit more with the AI, we could have pretty much a full mock-up, a full prototype of what our app is going to look like. Obviously, we can change it based on different design preferences we have or different features that we want in the MVP version of the app. Okay, so, and then here we want to be able to input these prompts and get our landing page content. So you're a conversion copywriter for SaaS products. Given the problem, let me just say above, blah, blah, blah. And this will give us all the content that we need for our landing page that we're building. Stop freezing on tough objections, close more deals today. And so when we're building out that landing page, this is for the other idea, but we can have some visuals that we want or that are going to show the main feature on our landing page. Then we can get the confirmation page prompt. We'll paste that in there. We're going to get all the details that we need. And then email follow-up. So it looks like this gave us a email as well. So I'll make a point to change that to make sure it doesn't give us an email. So have you guys been able to follow along so far? Is this making sense? Now here's our confirmation email, follow-up email, second follow-up email. So once we build these either on Bubble or on Card, we do the final checks and optimization. We do make sure everything looks good in a mobile preview. We can use the responsive viewer to see a bunch of different screen sizes. Interaction tests, make sure everything's working. Analytics setup, install Hotjar for heat map and Google Analytics to see where our traffic is coming from. We want link tracking. Bitly's usually a good way to go there. And then check load speed with page insights or page speed insights and accessibility check. So this is where we want to, this is something I find pretty valuable, is while we're doing all this, while we're setting up all this infrastructure, and we're going to start messaging people and coming up with a marketing plan, it's good to have either two separate ideas that we're validating and testing, or two different feature sets that we're testing. So we could duplicate our current page and test different benefits, test different mock-ups that we have, see what people are responding to more. So that way we're kind of hitting two birds with one stone. Now this is the big part. So all that stuff is relatively straightforward. We just have to put all those pieces together. It takes a little time, but none of it's too difficult. This is the part where the rubber meets the road, driving traffic. So there's a couple options. We can do organic outreach, or we can do paid outreach, depending on your budget and how much you're willing to spend. A lot of people are going to be starting on organic outreach. And before we start doing this, we want to create video assets that highlight features and pain points. So 30 to 90-second Loom videos showing the mockups that we've created with VODev. And create 3 to 5 core feature demos that you can quickly share with any lead. So there's going to be free and paid traffic sources. So there's a lot of stuff here: Reddit, Facebook groups, different paid sources, Meta ads, Google ads. Depending on how much we are wanting to spend, we can either start with the free or the paid channels. And a lot of these channels have been already identified by that ChatGPT deep research that we did in step 1. So outreach cheat sheet. So this, depending on where we're going to start, these are some helpful tips for any of the avenues that we're going to go down: cold email, Instagram DMs, whatever, or running paid ads. You can even do as little as like $5 a day. If you're going to do it for, let's say, 2, 3, 4 weeks, it doesn't add up to too much, but it could be definitely worth testing. So micro influencer outreach playbook. This is where we can get a good bang for our buck when we get somebody that already has an audience in the specific niche that we're targeting. We can get a lot of high quality leads that way. And this is one thing I definitely wanted to point out. We need to start thinking of hundreds or thousands of outreaches rather than just a few. So this is an example. Let's say this is a low goal, but it's also a realistic goal. 10 waitlist signups. Let's make an assumption that our landing page converts at 5%. That means we need to have 200 landing page visitors. And the percentage of DMs, the percentage of outreach we do that end up viewing that landing page, let's assume that's 10%. That means minimum total DMs that we need to do, the minimum outreach we need to do based on these metrics is 2,000. So that's 70 per day over 30 days. I feel like that's pretty realistic, especially if you can automate it in some ways, or if you can hire somebody to do that, or if you just have, an hour a day to invest in testing out this idea. So I think that's a pretty realistic conversion rate. So again, this is our Chat GPT prompt for the 30-day plan. So let's grab this real quick. And I'm just going to have it, since we already have our conversation open. Where is it? I am going to just say, I'm just going to delete it. If you're doing this, really go through this, but I'm already running way late. So based on the market research above, give me a quality marketing plan based on the deliverables below. And then for this, we're going to want to ideally do deep research as well, but let's at least search the web. And this is going to give us a marketing plan. We can even iterate even further than this. Rather than just giving us a weekly marketing plan, we could go as far as giving us a daily marketing plan as well. So this is going to give us some ad ideas, tracking and optimization. And like I said, to get the most out of ChatGPT, we want to iterate and go deeper on the things that are important to us. So this is bonus. And why this is at the end of this section is because I think you really need to try it yourself first in order to see what works and what doesn't before you can train someone on this. If you hire a cold outreach assistant, they're going to have experience, but they're not going to be able to refine the messaging like you are. They're not going to care about the messaging like you are. So I would recommend only hiring a outreach assistant until after you've done at least a week of refining initial outreach messages and identified the platforms, and you have a clear process that the outreach assistant can follow. But on Upwork or onlinejobs.ph, you can hire somebody for probably like $4 or $5 an hour, maybe even less, to do cold outreach for you. So once you've identified the process, then outsource it. So collecting feedback, follow-up questions. Here are some follow-up questions. Obviously, since we started this, we're logging everything in Google Sheets, all the stuff that we've learned and identified. Group responses into clusters. And here is the prompt. So yeah, this is going to identify, based on the feedback that we get from our cold outreach, we're going to start coming up with a list of all the messages that we get back, and then we're going to identify cluster pain points and help refine our messaging and our proposed features. Measure interest. We're going to track unique visitors to the landing page, conversion rate, email replies, referral link shares, time on page, whatever preset benchmarks we have, double down on what's working. And this is where we're going to use ChatGPT to analyze our current progress with outreach and refine that outreach. So that's what this prompt does. Important to track sources. And then step 7 is to decide. So now we've done all of the market research. We've defined the core problem. We've built the landing page. We've sent traffic. Now we've gotten some feedback. We've got all the information we need in a set period of time. We've set maybe 2 to 4 weeks for this process to unfold. And now we have enough information to decide if we are going to go ahead with this idea. So we're going to use ChatGPT to help us decide if we need that. So we're going to put in all of the visitors on the landing page, the number of signups, conversion rate, all this stuff, and it's going to help us decide. So there's 3 options. Launch, meaning we're going to build it. And we have 2 options. We can either build it yourself if you have extra time or your limited budget, or you have some technical ability or bubble experience, a clear grasp of how apps are structured. Hire a bubble development team. If you have a budget available, limited time, no interest in learning bubble, want to execute faster. We're going to pivot if we have identified another idea while going through this whole process. The idea that we had wasn't quite right. We needed to pivot on that idea. Then we refine that idea and then can run through that whole process again with our idea. Or we repurpose our idea we had didn't work at all, nothing similar we think is going to work. We're going to repurpose the whole system we built. We're going to be able to reuse that to test any other idea that we have. So we kind of go back to the drawing board. We repurpose the system that we've built with the follow-up emails and the landing page, and we just change the mock-ups. We change the text, we change the messaging to another idea that we identify. Next steps, you can get a cost and timeline estimate right here with the MVP calculator. That'll give you a cost and timeline for the features that you're looking to build. Here's the idea validation checklist. So I made it kind of short so you can go through and check those off and make sure you're following the system exactly. And then if you're ready to turn that idea into a real product, or if you need help with validation, you can schedule a strategy session here. So I had to kind of speed through that at the end because we're running a little bit late. But is there any questions that you guys have about this whole process? Is there anything you'd like me to cover? Or we kind of ran out of time anyways? Cool. Yeah, so there's a ton of information there. It's going to take you anywhere from probably 2 to 4 weeks. I would definitely set a limited limited amount of time where you have to make a decision. Let's say 28 days from now, 4 weeks from now, write it on your calendar. Hey, we're making a decision, yes or no, with this idea. And that allows you to not linger on a idea for too long if it's not validated. If you can't get it validated, then it's you, if you can't get it validated, then you need to be testing something else out. So we'll end it there. I'll send this recording to you guys. Just let me know if you have any questions. You can reach out at alex@boostercartel.com. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Hopefully that was valuable. And I'll talk to you guys.